Hello, happy Friday, and welcome to Sound Off with System One. I'm your host, Allie Moen. I'm a marketing manager here at System One. Very excited you are tuning in today to talk about education versus experience. I know all of our experts here are very excited and have a lot of great insight for you today. But before we dive into everything, I do want to give them a chance to introduce themselves. But first, a few words about System One. System One is a leading provider of specialized, highly technical outsourced services and workforce solutions to critical infrastructure, technology, life sciences, and government sectors, putting more than 650 employees and 9,000 contractors to work in the United States, Canada, and the UK. As you're tuning in, please drop a note in the comments. Let us know where you're joining from, what industry you work in, and if you have any questions for our experts today about education versus experience, put them in there and we will get to as many live questions today as we can. So Danielle, let's start with you. If you can give an intro and then a hot job that you're hiring for.
Yeah, hi guys. My name is Danielle Metcalf. I'm the financial recruitment lead here in Houston. We specialize in accounting and finance placements, but cover a multitude of opportunities. The job that I'm highlighting today is a customer service representative with a client of ours in Stafford, Texas. This is a great opportunity for someone who's been in the space for about 5+ years, ideally having a manufacturing background, someone who's worked with SAP, and the ideal candidate would be bilingual, speaking Spanish.
Hello, everybody. My name is Sean. I'm a recruiter with Mountain Limited. We're the innovative solution nationwide in the wireless and the fiber industry and the telecom. My hot job today is an outside plant engineer in the Barnstable or Cape Cod area. We're looking for an experienced field engineer. This is a contract position that starts at $40 an hour with the potential to be a direct hire with a client. Looking for somebody that has, of course, telecom engineering, designing experience, and a go-getter.
Hey guys, my name is Owen Nini. I work at our office in Pittsburgh. Worked for System One for about 5 years. My hot job is a quality engineer to North Carolina, Asheboro specifically. It's for an injection molding manufacturer. Looking for somebody with ISO 13485 experience, specific to the medical device industry.
Awesome. Thank you, Danielle, Sean, and Owen. You can search all of those jobs by scanning the QR code at the top of the screen, as well as by visiting jobs.system1.com. You can search by the job title or by the job ID. All of that information is in the comments if you want to go take a look at that. You can also connect with Danielle, Sean, and Owen on LinkedIn. And if you have any questions or want to chat more about those jobs, you can reach out to them. So without further ado, we will dive into our first question for today. Again, we are talking about education versus experience. Danielle, I'm going to come to you for today's first question. What advice do you have for candidates who are trying to break into a new industry where they might lack formal education but have the relevant experience?
Yeah, that's a great question. One of the things that we will always pride ourselves on is relationships with recruiters. It's what we're here for. And I think one of the opportunities that we have as a recruiter is we're able to tell the story that maybe a resume doesn't. And so partnering with us allows us to have a conversation on your behalf to maybe connect those dots that hiring managers aren't seeing based on just an application.
Very great answer, Danielle. I definitely highlight connect with a System One recruiter. We got the ins with all the hiring managers. We can kind of tailor and assist you with your job search. I would definitely talk about networking. Network with that new kind of field that you're trying to get into so that way you can learn more about it. Potential online trainings that might not be associated with a degree. That'll also help you stand out compared to other applicants.
Yeah, definitely concur with the connect with the recruiter sentiment going on here. It's we get paid to know both sides. What the hiring managers want and need, we can help best accentuate your skills and knowledge. Get these conversations started with the hiring managers.
Absolutely. So to sum up the answer to question one, connect with Danielle, Sean, and Owen. Question number 2 that I have for you, Sean, I'll start with you. Do you see any future trends in hiring practices that might shift the balance between education and experience?
Oh, that's a great question. Definitely. I noticed this year alone, I've been seeing about a 50% switch from the hiring managers that I'm working with hiring candidates based on their skills rather than the traditional education. I know I've gotten a lot of messages the last 48 hours about how education is more important from my connections. It is, but you definitely want to make sure you connect and just continue to work hard on, trying to see what's out there because hiring managers are looking for people with the right attitude.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's really, really good feedback. I think also what we're seeing is just industry experience is becoming more valuable. If you have familiarity with the way that a business works, a scope of work, and how that plays out in the business, then you are able to kind of transfer that knowledge to a specific role. And so being mindful of the industry and the path that you're creating for your career is important.
Yeah, absolutely. In manufacturing, my main market, I've definitely seen a shift towards the skill set versus the education. It's I guess more specific to certain industries. Like I do a lot of work in the plastics industries. It's something a lot of educational programs don't necessarily provide. It's become a big trend.
Great, thank you. And Owen, I'll stick with you for this next question. How can recent graduates without much experience make themselves more attractive to employers?
Yeah, I would say any work experience that you would have in addition to your education, it all plays very, very well. It shows a little bit of gumption. It shows, a go get 'em type attitude. It can be really helpful. I've seen clients hire entry level engineers off of the strength of their pizza delivery jobs while they're in college. And I've seen it, more than one time. Demonstrates a lot. It's very important.
Yeah. Yeah. Soft skills are becoming highly valuable to hiring managers. And on that thought, preparation for an interview, spending time doing the front end work before your conversation with the hiring manager is really important. Showing that you are genuinely interested not only in the company, but the people that you're interviewing with. Do research on them through their LinkedIn profiles to show that you, again, set yourself up for success for the conversation that you're going to have.
Well, you guys almost covered all the answers, but I'll add a little more. This is a great question. First step first, connect with a System 1 recruiter. That's my pitch of the day. The big thing is definitely new grads. It's tough to kind of get your feet established in the workforce. You want to connect. You want to build a network within LinkedIn, trying to get those connections in the industry that you're looking to work into. Your ability to work and willingness to be, attention to detail is going to set you apart from a lot of other people too. It's just being focused and being, right on top and connecting with others.
Great insight. And I believe we do have a viewer question. We're going to pop that up on the screen here. So this is a question from Michael. As a shortened version, depending on the industry that you're sending job applications in for, should you focus more on responsibilities or on accomplishments when you're building your resume out?
I can jump in.
Perfect.
Companies, at least what I was taught, what they're always looking to do is number one, make money. Number two, save money. Number three, protect their good name. So it's honestly, the answer to that depends on what responsibilities or what accomplishments, and obviously what job that you're going for. If you're applying for a job where there is significant responsibility, personnel management, P&L management, anything like that, it may be better to list responsibilities. Accomplishments, I would say focus it towards, revenue generation, things like that.
Yeah, I think that if you're highlighting those accomplishments, if there's a measurable metric that you met that's easy to highlight in your summary under your position, that can be helpful. It's easy on the eyes to look at percentages and different numbers, but responsibilities I feel like are the bulk of what we're looking for on resumes.
Yeah, definitely. Michael, great question. I I'm kind of different. I would definitely highlight both responsibilities and accomplishments. Keep it short, bullet points, but have quantifiable comments based on what you're trying to present. Also, work with a recruiter because different hiring managers for different industries actually like to receive resumes look in a specific way. So they might tell you what's better insight for a specific role you're applying for to ensure if you should be highlighting more responsibilities versus accomplishments.
That's great advice. So moving on to the next question, Sean, we'll start with you. Can you provide any examples of industries where experience is more valued than education and vice versa?
That's a great question. I'm in the telecom industry, and what I find is, gaining a lot of experience on day-to-day operations and working helps in that specific industry. Depending if you're an inspector, an outside plant engineer, it really determines what type of the role is. But I've been seeing a large trend in the telecommunication industries that the education is great, but it's not the overall rule for somebody to get hired into a position.
Yeah, I second that. I think industry, I keep harping on that, but it's what I see with our clients here in Houston, and being where we're located, we have a lot of oil and gas, a lot of oil and gas services, manufacturing companies. They really value the insight of someone understanding their business. A lot of the roles that we work on, the skills can be transferable, but that industry knowledge is something that's really valued. So keeping in mind your path and the way that you want to work long term, and getting into those industries could be just a matter of starting on the entry level side and working your way up. But that for us is oil and gas, construction, and manufacturing.
Yeah, and I would agree with both you guys. Definitely Danielle with the construction manufacturing. I think the real answer though is every industry really values experience. It is the truth. I don't want that to be a cop out. I just believe education. It's however many years you spent learning just basically general best practices, generally accepted things to do. It shows that you spent that time getting that knowledge. It crosses industries, makes you more versatile. Whereas specific industry experience, gives you knowledge and insight into that industry. So it's valued pretty highly.
Awesome. And I know we are seeing some questions from some folks that are very industry specific. I know I see a few IT questions in there. We want to make sure we get you answers from someone that is really knowledgeable within that industry. So we'll connect with you after the live. We'll make sure we get you connected with one of our IT recruiters so they can better answer those questions for you. We are not just ignoring you. Don't worry. Moving on to my next question, Danielle. Can certifications and short courses make up for a lack of formal education?
Absolutely. That is something that we are seeing more and more these days, is just specifically for us on an accounting and finance team. Anytime you may not have had the opportunity to work with a specific software, but have a certification or have gone through a course to understand that software, that is really helpful to share on your behalf. Or again, if you're applying to jobs on your own, just being able to highlight that you understand that software, whether you've worked with it or not, is going to be valuable.
Yeah, most definitely. I always encourage it to all my applicants, anybody I talk to, any training that you can get sets you apart from others. It shows your willingness to kind of think outside the box, ability to continue your education and to strive for success. And that's a big thing that I notice a lot of the hiring manager looking for is those people that are looking to try to better themselves, especially if they're changing from one industry to another or just trying to get another step up in the current career path they're in.
Yeah, I agree with both you guys. I would say definitely with respect to getting a job, it's very important. Maybe it's easiest to answer this question with walking everybody through the mechanics, of what we do, how it's done. So you connect with a recruiter. We have this conversation. We have your resume. We go over your skill set. We will try to highlight your experience, send it to a hiring manager. There may be 10 applications, there may be 3, there may be 100 for that specific job. So typically when you're in front of a hiring manager, it's more of a snap decision what we would all like. You might get 30 seconds, you might get a minute of consideration. And what I mean by that is basically you want your skills to pop, and you want them to pop quickly. Something like a certification, it says a lot about what you bring to the table and what you want your career to be in a very short amount of time. So it really helps with the pop.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome advice. Sean, next question for you. How important is relevant work experience compared to educational qualifications?
Well, that's a tough question. It really depends on the specific industry you're in. I focus mostly on the telecom industry, of course, and I would just the thing is they're looking for the growth of mindset. Employers are, you're looking to see what's out there. How are things changing? It's becoming less important on the education piece versus the experience in my industry, and depending on the skill level of the position. So it's kind of a tough answer to provide, but definitely experience goes a long ways. It's allowing you to be capable and to provide, experience into a role that industry is looking for.
Yeah, it is tough because both can be valuable depending on what a client or hiring manager is looking for. I think one of the things to consider as an applicant, as a candidate on the market, is just understanding that some industries are going to require an industry background. We work with again, accounting roles, and sometimes they're requiring that manufacturing experience, whereas as a candidate you can easily think accounting's transferable, and while it is, sometimes clients are just going to require that understanding of cost accounting or particular functions that are associated with the industry. While accounting is pretty broad, there are some specific functions that are associated with different groups. So be patient with those types of hiring managers and know that your skill set is still valuable, but it may not work for certain industries. But again, as we've been saying, both are valuable, and different groups are going to look at it differently.
Awesome. Thanks so much. And then I do have one more question for you all. So Owen, I'll start with you for our finale question here. How do you advise candidates to present their education and experience on their resumes and on their LinkedIn profiles?
Sure. It somewhat ties into other answers, but it's, tailor it to the type of job that you're looking for, basically. If it's a job in an industry that you would deem, more likely to value experience over education, you want to put that first. You want to highlight it first, and obviously vice versa. If it's something that would value education more highly, you want that to be accentuated. But I would say overall, just tailor it to the job you want.
Yeah, that's great advice. One of the things that I coach my candidates on is that top of the LinkedIn area. You want to tailor that to the job you're targeting and not what you've been doing. If you're trying to transition, make sure you're highlighting your ideal role and not where you've been. And then another thing I like to see on LinkedIn profiles is, it doesn't have to match your resume. So summarizing your responsibilities, but then also a quick 1 to 2 sentence about what that company did. I love being able to gather the industry from your LinkedIn without having to do my own research. So taking an opportunity to tell about the company itself, but then go into what you were doing there is really helpful as someone on the other side.
Oh, definitely, both great answers. I find that they're both professional sites. Your resume should be very professional. Your LinkedIn profile should be very professional. What I like about LinkedIn, allows you to have your own personal touch to it too. It'll show some of your interests. It'll show some of the values that you have. What are some of the hot topics you like, endorse, or, what are you communicating or posting? Because your LinkedIn profile gives you a well-rounded picture of yourself compared to what you actually see in a resume. The resume is very important. The LinkedIn profile is also very important. But LinkedIn, you can have a story about yourself, who you are, where you come from, what you're looking to do in the future, and that isn't sold on a resume. But if you work with a recruiter with System 1, we can tell your life story to the hiring managers that we work with daily. But definitely, personal touch on LinkedIn goes a long ways, and keep your resume definitely very professional.
Absolutely. Well, I want to thank all of our experts, Danielle, Sean, and Owen, for joining us today. You provided a lot of great insight for our job seekers on education versus experience. So thank you. It's always a pleasure having you on Sound Off with System One. To our viewers, thank you for tuning in to another segment of Sound Off with System One. We love the engagement in the comments when you ask questions. So if we didn't get to your question today live, we will be sure to connect with you and try to get you a response after we end up today. So a few more things that I want to let you know about. Be sure to connect with Danielle, Sean, and Owen on LinkedIn. As Sean said, work with a System One recruiter. They could be your ticket to your next job opportunity. Give System One a follow on LinkedIn. We provide a lot of great resume and interview tips, leadership insights, success stories, and more. You can also find a lot of great video content on our System One YouTube channel. So be sure to check that out and tune in for our next Sound Off with System One. We are here on the first and third Friday of every month. So again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you next time.